No, I'm team hate, bro. Get me out of here. I feel like if I paid for that, I would have got swindled. I'm good off of him, bro. Today we're gonna be checking out Nintendo's most controversial character.
So I want you to ask anyone who their favorite Nintendo character is, and I'm sure you're bound to get a wide variety of responses reflective of
Who is my favorite Nintendo character? Honestly, if it's probably just gonna be Link, if I'm being like super basic. That's the first character that comes to mind. Like I played Ocarina of Time so many times growing up, and it's still one of my favorite games ever. So I'd probably just have to go with some basic answer like Link for sure.
Nintendo's diverse and unique cast.
Funny enough, I never got into Mario games. Like, I know they're cool, like, I have no problem with them, but for some reason, Mario games don't really do it for me. Like, I'll play them, but I never get excited for them. I guess unless Mario Kart or like Mario Party counts as Mario games, I guess technically. But like as far as like the platforming games, they're not really too much of my thing. But I respect them. Like I said, I have nothing against them.
Bound to get some Marios, Links, Kirby's, Pikachu's, Luigi's, Fox's, Samus's,
I also never got into like Star Fox games either.
Zelda's, and Ness's, and maybe among the more hardcore fan base, you'll even get some responses riddled with Skull Kids, Ridley's, Happy Mask Salesman, and
Your favorite character is Happy Mask Salesman, bro. Come on. You can't be for real. That's like you're being performative at that point. You're just like, who is the least known Zelda Nintendo character I can pick, man? There's no way that's someone's favorite character.
maybe even the Great Leon. Yet chances
I
are,
don't know
no
who
matter
that
who
is.
you pick, you're sure to land on a character who has been at the center of approximately zero controversy. And this is largely because
I guess it depends on how you look at it. If we're talking about like in-game or just like news, like actual controversy, yeah, I mean that's he's got a point, but it's Nintendo. They keep their image like that. If you do anything Nintendo doesn't like, they're sending the ninjas and you'll be silenced.
of the squeaky clean, family friendly mentality that Nintendo decided to adopt from an early stage in their business. Mario is harmless. Most Nintendo characters are harmless because they want their games to be for everyone, and there have been very few blunders in the company's history.
And I can't be mad at that because there's so many people I see like, man, what if Nintendo made like mature Zelda games or things like that? I'm like, I mean, I guess, but Nintendo games, they're good because they stick to what they want. They already know their target audience, the type of like video games they want to make. I don't think that a game being having blood or being rated R or anything like that would really fit Nintendo games. Like, could you imagine if they made a Zelda game where it was like an adult like themed game where there was blood and dismemberment and stuff like that? I don't think that would necessarily add to Zelda. That's not really an important thing to a Zelda game.
Of course, there have been some characters in Nintendo's history that have been downright offensive. However, I'm choosing not to mention them in this video because it goes without saying these
Wait, who is this? Human Shape? I have no idea who that is or what that is.
characters have been perceived almost unanimously as being offensive. So really, if you want to get to the semantics of it, there's nothing controversial about them anymore, but there is one Nintendo character who has flew relatively under the radar until fairly recently.
I don't recognize this character at all. It looks like a Zelda character, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Who has been the center of a lot of controversy. You've got a lot of people arguing in favor of
Definitely a Zelda character. Is this Breath of the Wild?
this character. You've got a lot of people arguing against this character. And this isn't controversy that has spilled over into the mainstream quite
I've literally never seen this character before. It's definitely from Zelda game, Breath of the Wild or whatever. But I played both those games. I don't remember coming across this character. Maybe it's just been a
yet,
while.
but in the underground Nintendo fandom, specifically the Legend of Zelda fandom, there is ruthless ongoing debate about this guy, and that guy
What did this guy do?
is Bolson.
Bolson? This doesn't sound familiar.
So, who is Bolson? Bolson is kind of an enigmatic Hylian character from East Necluda who makes his debut in Breath of the Wild. You know, he's this bright, visible guy who just stands out from pretty much all the other characters you encounter thanks to his eccentric attire. He's got a pink headband, a pink earring.
Why don't I remember this character? It's been so long since I played Breath of the Wild, and I've only ever beaten that game one time. And I'm like having the hardest time trying to remember this character at all.
A well-groomed beard, a relatively unconstricting tiger print henten, that's a type of loose-fitting Japanese coat, pink pants where the belt sits above the waist, and various other accessories.
Oh my god, please don't let the controversy surround this character be like he's like a feminine, like, male character or something like that, or maybe, like, trans issues type thing. Like, I hope that's not the controversy because that's so silly, especially in a Zelda game, Breath of the Wild of all games.
He's a carpenter by trade and the owner of Bolson Construction, which is a construction company working in Hyrule, and you can buy your house from him for a relatively reasonable price in Hateno Village
I don't think I ever bought a house in Breath of the Wild now that I think about it. I didn't know that was a thing. That goes to show you how long ago I played this game.
after you stop him from demolishing the vacant home. He'll also furnish your home for additional rupees, and once your home is fully furnished, he'll decorate it for you for free. Business is booming for Bolson, and after
I feel like that's one of those things where you would do if you're just bored with the game. It's like I see no value in like buying a home in Breath of the Wild. Like I don't. Maybe it's because it's something I missed out on. Maybe you get some type of perks or benefits for owning the house, but like I don't know. It's just one of those things where they just put it in the game, just put it in the game. Maybe that's why I never ran into it.
purchasing your house from him, he sends one of his subordinates, Hudson, to build a new town at Lake Akala. He's definitely got his quirks, notably the Bolson dance.
Hey,
He
he's kind of hitting
definitely
that
doesn't
shit.
dress like anyone else in Hyrule, and he only hires people whose name ends in the suffix son. He's definitely got an interesting way of wording things, and between all the furnishings you will inevitably get for your Hateno home, you'll see firsthand the banter he has with his employee Carson. Yet, despite what you see on the surface, Bolson has managed to snag himself a spot on Nintendo's most controversial.
I can't wait to see what the issue with this character. So far, I don't really see anything terrible about the character so far, other than maybe people don't like the way he looks or the way he acts. That's kind of it. I don't really see anything else.
List. And this is because he's a squatter. After the original purchase of sale from Bolson, and Hudson has already left to Lake Akala, Bolson and Carson stay behind and squat beside a fire on the front lawn of your home.
Wait, there's no way he's being serious right now. Is this really an issue that people have? Like, am I being trolled right now? Am I watching a troll
And
video?
you can see this for yourself if you have Breath of the Wild. The pair sit down and they don't move at all. And you quickly begin to realize, oh, Bolson isn't going anywhere.
Wait, so is that outside your house? And also, plenty of NPCs in Zelda don't move. They kind of just stay in the same spot.
Granted, he does briefly leave to go to Terrytown, the town you help him construct, but if you talk to him after the wedding event between Hudson and Ronson, he will promptly go back to squat on your lawn in Hateno Village. Now this seems like a completely ridiculous reason for this character to be controversial, and yet if you Google Bolson, you will see thread after thread, quarry
Okay, this is funny. I get it. I guess you get your house built and you have all that stuff. It's like you don't want the person just sitting out there. I guess I can get it from that standpoint, but like, there's no way people are really complaining
after
about it. That's
quarry,
crazy.
asking what is essentially the same question. How do I get Bolson to stop squatting on my property? How do I get rid of Bolson? How do I get rid of Bolson? And some of these threads can go on for a while. Some players have shared their crafty solutions to make sure Bolson can't get back onto your lawn.
Wait, so is he after he builds your house and stuff like that? Is he just like completely useless and he doesn't do anything for you? Like you have no more interactions with him and he just sits there? I mean, I can see how that can be annoying.
The comments to this solution, for example, read, "Finally, someone discovered a way to get rid of those squatters. You pay thousands of rupees and 30 bundles of wood, you pay for all the upgrades, and still these guys loiter on your lawn like they own the place." Another one from
I mean, surely somebody's already like modded the game to get them off your lawn. I guarantee you, there's like a mod for everything. I'm sure somebody out there modded their Switch just so they can get this guy off their lawn. That's pretty funny if so.
a different thread reads, "The house you purchased looks ghastly as hell, even after fully upgrading it. Two guys sitting there next to a fire like hobos really fits the ambiance of Link's house."
I mean, some people really it's impressive. Some people really get into this game or really got into the game where they were worried about this type of thing. Like I said, I didn't even know you could own a home or this even happened, let alone getting fired up that they're sitting on my lawn. So I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting to see how people play their games differently.
Of course, some people have come to the defense of Bolson, saying, "Man, let your bros chill on your lawn. You wouldn't even have that lawn if not for them." And it kind of goes on and on like this, back and forth within the Zelda community, especially on the boards. I'm sure if you've also played Breath of the Wild, you yourself most likely have a strong opinion on Bolson's squad.
I don't feel either way about this, to be honest with you. I think some people are just a little too invested in the game, or they were.
Now, a lot of threads have offered solutions to this squatting problem, and players will consult other players by telling them not to talk to Bolson after the wedding in Terrytown if they don't want Bolson to return to loitering on their lawn in Hateno.
Right, so if you make that mistake, like this person said right here, you can never have them leave. I feel like somebody out there has reset their entire save just so they can get them off their lawn. I'm sure people have done that as well.
There's even a tongue-in-cheek mod called
I
Remove
knew it. I knew somebody made a mod. See, I'm not surprised.
Lawn
There's a mod for
Freeloaders
everything.
that essentially allows you to delete Bolson and Carson from the game. And while this is all internet banter, and most of the debate surrounding Bolson is played out in harmless fun, some talks around Bolson have become very mean-spirited, and in some cases even hostile, resorting to a lot of foul language directed at him. It's even gotten to the point where players are turning to the legal systems of both America and Japan to brush up on their squatting.
Okay, see, now you're taking it too far. This is way too much effort. Like, if you really got this into it, you definitely have nothing going on outside of this game, bro. There's no way. Like, at first, this was kind of funny to me, but people really took it this serious. I don't know, man. That's different.
Since their copies of Breath of the Wild were sold and purchased in America, Bolson's case of squatting should be evaluated under American law, and so on and so forth for countries in which copies of the game were sold. While some players believe that, no, the accurate thing to do would be to digitally extradite Bolson to Japan, where the game was created, so that he could undergo a fair trial there.
I can't tell if they're being serious or not. Like, I still think I'm getting trolled right now. There's no way people were this serious about it.
And the water gets even muddier when you start taking a look at these legalities. For example, in America, there's this idea of adverse possession, wherein the squatter is entitled to the land which they have been squatting on, provided there is a vacancy on that land. This only gets more complicated when you take into account that not only has Link previously been away from his house for 100 years, but while you're exploring the lands of Hyrule, you can sometimes leave your lot vacant for weeks, months, or even years of in-game days. You know, at that point, if you truly have left your lot vacant for in-game years, and Bolson has been squatting on your land the whole time, and it becomes his land through adverse possession, provided he can prove he did so in good faith, does that not make Link the squatter when he comes back to do whatever he needs to do in his house?
But wait, I thought you had to pay him to make the house. You paid for the lawn and everything, right? Isn't that what they said? So it's different? It's not the same thing? I don't know. I'm confused.
On the other hand, if we were to extradite Bolson to Japan where he was originally created, we would have to take into account Japan's adverse possession laws, Shutoku Jiko. That requires that if a lot has been abandoned for 20 years and one maintains the land with upkeep, and in that time there are no challenges to the land by the original owner, then a squatter would come into possession of that land.
I mean, I feel like that's fair. 20 years is a long time. And if you're taking care of the land and no one says anything, I feel like that's kind of fair. You know, I'm be honest. I can't be mad at it. That's 20 years, man.
And the fact is, yes, Bolson does maintain the land of Link's house when Link is away. The grass is constantly kept, it's always green, meaning it is watered during the warm summer months, and the house always has a warming fire set in the front yard. So, yes, if a player were to leave their lot vacant for 20 in-game years, it would be the case that Bolson would legally own your property again. Now, of course, I'm no legal expert, so I took to
But does Link actually leave that long? Like I said, I think he mentioned that you buy the house from him and all that stuff. So technically it's Link's home. And I don't know how many years Breath of the Wild takes place over the course of actually the main story. I feel like I don't know, I just feel like this guy should leave. I'm getting invested in this stupid thing that I didn't even know about. This is so funny. Especially, I like how this video is made because it makes it seem like it's such a serious thing. And it's like a serious, uh, documentary or something. And it's just like this silly thing. This is great.
Twitter to ask the lawyers of the world what their take on the Bolson controversy was. And although no lawyers actually responded to me, a very good point was brought up, which was that Link was never actually seen signing any bill of sale or deed transaction for the house. That would mean that
I guess that makes sense. So he knew what he was doing the whole time. He's an evil person. I don't like Bolson now.
Bolson is actually still the proprietary owner of the house, and the home was never Link's to move back into. And if we actually look back on the footage of Link purchasing the house from Bolson, you can see that actually nothing was ever signed on Link's behalf to claim ownership of the house in exchange for the 3,000 rupees and 30 bundles of wood.
Yeah, now I'm on team hate Bolson because that's crazy. Like, how are you gonna offer me all this stuff for a house? And I give you all that money, which is not a little bit of money, and I supply the supplies to build the house or repair the house, and you're not gonna even give it to me? You're not gonna let me sign nothing? Yeah, nah, this guy, I don't trust this guy. He's fraud.
So,
Lock him
yes,
up.
unequivocally, that would mean Bolson still owns the house and he essentially swindles you out of your 3,000
Yeah, finessed everybody except me because I never did this.
rupees and 30 bundles of wood. Now, of course, it's entirely possible that a contract or purchasing agreement of some kind was signed off camera or there was some verbal agreement made, but things also start to get even more complicated when you start taking into account for honor bartering systems.
I mean, but we can't really assume that something was signed off screen, because then we would how would we have to assume that he takes care of the lawn as well? Because we never actually see him do that either. You know, it could be anybody. Or maybe it just doesn't grow. Maybe it's a bad area where the grass and stuff doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I feel like you can't. It's not fair to assume one without assuming the other.
That have some legal protection. You know, there are some systems in place to protect exactly this kind of traditional bartering style legal transaction, especially in a place like Hyrule where this for honor style of bartering is most likely still present in many pockets over the land. Regardless of Bolson's legal rights, what this ultimately
That's also a pretty hefty assumption. Like, this is Hyrule. I think people in Hyrule have way bigger issues than worrying about a barter trading system because you got Ganon running around doing whatever and these crazy monsters every time the sun goes down. I'm good, bro.
comes down to is whether or not you, the player, accept Bolson to be living on your property. Because controversy or not, Bolson isn't actually a squatter if you personally decide he is welcome on your estate. If that is, you actually own it. As for myself, I've come to like the guy and his company in this cruel and punishing world Link inhabits. So I'll let him stay for the time being. And come sequel time, we'll see where things stand.
No, I'm team hate, bro. Get me out of here. I feel like if I paid for that, I would have got swindled. I'm good off of him, bro.
Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
This is a really good video. It's pretty funny. Like, I clicked this video and I saved it to watch later thinking it was going to be something way more serious than it was. And it turns out I feel like I just got trolled. But I like videos like this when people do like video essays about like something in a video game space or just whatever, I guess. And it's not as serious. Because if you ever watch like a serious video essay, they really sometimes I feel like they can be full of themselves and a little pretentious about what they're talking about. But this was like cool. It was an interesting video and it was still fun and it wasn't so serious. Shout out to this person. Of course, I'm going to leave the link to the original video if you want to check it out. That's going to be it for now. Thank you for watching and I'll talk to you in the next one.